health, as well as special needs children. Chantel hopes to further her career with the Coalinga Fire Department and become a firefighter paramedic in the future. Next, we have Aaron Trujillo. EMT Trujillo has worked in the fire service for a year and has been with the Coalinga Fire Department for 6 months. Aaron also volunteers as a firefighter for the Orange Cove Fire Protection District and is currently a student at California State University, San Marcos, pursuing a Bachelor's of Science degree in Wildland Fire Science. Aaron hopes to eventually attend paramedic school and be promoted within the Coalinga Fire Department to a firefighter paramedic. Next is Janet Amador. EMT Amador has been an EMT for 1 year and has been with the Coalinga Fire Department since May of 2023. Janet started with the department as one of our per diems and was promoted to a full-time position in August. Prior to Janet joining Coalinga Fire, she served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 2017 until 2021. And last is Julia Sellers. Julia Sellers has 4 years of experience working in EMS and has been with Coalinga Fire since May of 2023. Julia is set to start paramedic school in January 2024. She's one of the recipients of the paramedic scholarship and plans to serve as a paramedic for Coalinga Fire upon completion. Julia is a mother of 2 boys and has a passion for serving the community and is looking forward to a long career with Coalinga Fire Department. Give a hand to our non-safety. Next are our 2 firefighters, Darren and Antonio. Antonio's unfortunately on a call right now. He's working. So Darren moved to Coalinga in 2021 from Denver, Colorado, where he was a park maintenance supervisor and began to pursue his career in the fire service by getting his EMT certificate. Darren joined the Coalinga Fire Department in May of 2022 as a reserve and was promoted to full-time firefighter just recently. Darren is passionate about EMS and has plans to go to paramedic school. He looks forward to a long career with Coalinga Fire. The other firefighter who's not here, I'll still recognize him, is Antonio Basuto. Antonio was raised in Huron and attended Coalinga High School. He started his career with the Coalinga Fire Department in 2013 as a reserve firefighter and completed the EMT program at West Hills College Lemoore in 2014. Antonio graduated from the Fire Academy at College of the Sequoias in Hanford in 2019. Antonio plans to continue to further his education and serve the community to the best of his ability. And I forgot Dane. Dane, can you come forward, bud? Dane has been with us for a while. We just never got a chance to introduce him. So firefighter paramedic Dane Kosmosky has worked in EMS for approximately 4.5 years and has been with the Coalinga Fire Department for 2.5 years. Dane joined the department as a non-safety paramedic, so he's part of our EMS division, and was promoted into the suppression side as a firefighter paramedic in 2021. He is currently pursuing a degree in emergency management at Purdue Global University. And those are our firefighters. Our 2 promoted engineers, Todd Sigler and Diego Acosta. We're going to have to wrap around the corner. All right, so Engineer Sigler. Engineer Sigler grew up in Coalinga. He attended school in Coalinga and graduated from Coalinga High in 1999. Engineer Sigler started his career with Coalinga Fire as a volunteer in 2001. He got his EMT certificate in 2002 and began working on an ambulance for the department shortly after. Todd was hired full-time in 2006 as a firefighter EMT and put himself through the Fire Academy at College of the Sequoias in 2011. He is working on his company officer classes to be able to promote to captain in the near future. Engineer Sigler continues to live in Coalinga with his wife Marcy and 2 children, Zachary and Rose. Diego Acosta. Engineer Diego Acosta has been with the Coalinga Fire Department since 2015. Engineer Acosta started as a reserve firefighter and promoted to full-time in 2018. In the past 5 years, he has worked to challenge himself and grow professionally. Those are our engineer promotions. Our 2 fire captains, Isaac Rodriguez and Jimmy Ramsey. All right, Fire Captain Isaac Rodriguez. Captain Isaac Rodriguez is from Clovis and started his career in the fire service in 2015 with the Coalinga Fire Department as a reserve firefighter. Captain Rodriguez has had the privilege of growing his career through the ranks within the department from reserve to full-time firefighter, engineer, and now a fire captain. He says, "I could not have done any of this without the support of his mentors, colleagues, and most importantly, his wife Christine, son Declan, and daughter Billy." Captain Rodriguez will be assigned to A shift captain. Jimmy Ramsey. Captain Jimmy Ramsey was born and raised in Coalinga and raised his 4 children alongside his wife Miranda. His family has been a part of the Coalinga Fire Department since the early 70s. Captain Ramsey's career started in 1993 when he joined the department as a volunteer firefighter in 1994. He completed his Firefighter 1 Academy and was hired as a full-time firefighter in 1995. In 2001, he was promoted to firefighter paramedic and has rose through the ranks to engineer and now fire captain. Captain Ramsey will be assigned to B shift. And those are our 2 fire captains. And finally, our battalion chiefs, Keith Kreider, Robert Long, and Justin Milligan. The battalion chief position was created after organizational restructuring to fill some holes and gaps in supervision during the periods of chief officer availability. It was a long road to get here, but so far they have worked their weight in gold. They have excelled in the short time that they've become battalion chiefs, and I am looking forward to the future of having them. Our first one is going to be Battalion Chief Robert Long. Battalion Chief Robert Long started his fire service career with the Coalinga Fire Department as a volunteer firefighter EMT in 1992. He grew through the ranks of the department to full-time firefighter EMT in 1995 and then to engineer in 1998 and captain in 2005. Battalion Chief Long will be assigned to B platoon and will oversee our fleet and operations division. Battalion Chief Justin Milligan. Battalion Chief Justin Milligan was born and raised in Lancaster, California. He started his fire career in California City in 1998 as a reserve firefighter and paramedic. Battalion Chief Milligan and his family moved to Coalinga when he was hired by the Coalinga Fire Department in 2004. He was a firefighter paramedic for 14 years, promoted to engineer in 2018, and he was our administrative captain in 2022. Battalion Chief Milligan will be assigned to C platoon and will oversee the fire prevention and investigation divisions. And finally, Battalion Chief Keith Kreider. Battalion Chief Kreider started with the Coalinga Fire as a reserve firefighter in 1998. While working as a reserve, Battalion Chief Kreider worked 5 seasons as a firefighter with CAL FIRE before becoming an engineer and working for Kings County in 2004. In 2007, he accepted a full-time position as engineer with the Coalinga Fire Department and was promoted to captain in 2008. Battalion Chief Kreider is assigned to A shift platoon and will oversee our training and EMS divisions. And give a big round of a hand for all of our promotees and new hires. Like I said, this is very historic. As you can see, this is outstanding. This is exciting for the department in the future. And I just wanted to again thank council for your support and the community for your support. We're excited at where we're progressing and where we're going. So thank you very much. Mayor, would it be okay to?
Yes, at this time, we're going to take about a 10-minute break so we can get some pictures with officers. We'll go ahead and get this meeting back in order. Our next item is item number 3, citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes in accordance with state open meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for follow-up and a report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing the city clerk on the day of the city council meeting shall be distributed to the city council and included in record. However, they will not be read. Okay, additionally, if you would like to make a comment related to a specific item or a specific agenda item, such as item 6.1, discussion, direction, and potential action regarding animal shelter services, you will need to complete a public comment card located on the shelf on the right just as you walk into the city council chambers. Those of you who don't know, it's right over here. And provide it to the city clerk prior to the vote on the item you wish to comment on. Comments are limited to 3 minutes as per speaker.
I just have a question. If I want to
Okay.
comment, I'm sorry.
Yes.
If I want to comment on a consent calendar item or consent agenda item, do I need to fill out the public comment card as well?
Yes. Those items, I believe, were set for 5 p.m.? Or,
They can do it now.
Oh, okay.
Shannon, before you vote on the consent calendar.
okay,
Hello, I'm Hilda Crawford, and first thing is I want to do is, believe it or not, thank Sean Brewer and Eric DeLeon. They took care of a matter that I brought up, I think, maybe 2 months ago, regarding the holes and the debits that were in the gazebo. And Saturday night, when they had the parade, we were there at the gazebo and they still hadn't been filled in. So Sean's always telling me, you have to email me, and I'll get it done. Okay, so I did. And he got it done, and Eric sent me back, replied with an email telling me that the holes had been filled. So thank you, Sean, and thank you, Eric DeLeon. But I'm also here for the library. I just want everyone to be aware that the library will be having events during the Christmas break. On Tuesday, December 19th, we will be having bingo. On Wednesday, the 20th, we will be having Santa visit. And then on Thursday, I think we're doing a craft. So just come, if you need to know the times, and just get on our website. You can go ahead and get on our website, come into the library, and we should have flyers, and it's posted. And then there is a way that you can get on to notifications by going on our website, and somehow Nathan has fixed it where you can get on there. If you have any questions, just call the library, and then you can automatically be notified for any upcoming events, anything that's happening at the library. So again, bombard him with a bunch of questions, okay? So anyhow, thank you, and again, Sean and Eric, thank you so much. Now nobody has to trip, fall, and hurt themselves and sue you people. Okay, thank you.
any other comments?
It says prior to the meeting, but I didn't know this was a,
It's okay, you can give it to the city clerk and she'll call you up before they vote on the consent calendar.
Any other citizens? Any more comments?
So this is general public comment. If you want to comment about anything in the jurisdiction of the city, you're upset about a pothole, anything like that. But if it's something on the agenda, they'll call you up for that agenda item.
Yeah, which is what the cards are for when we bring up that item. No more comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and close that. Council? None? Okay, we'll move on to public hearings. We have none. Item number 5, the consent calendar. We have 25 items. Council, what would you guys like to do?
So I'd like to pull item 5.4. I'd like to pull 511 for a separate vote. I'd like to pull 513, 517, and 518. Seventeen, 18. Yeah, so I'd like to pull 5.4, and then 5.11 is the only one I just want to do. I just want to pull it completely and have a separate vote on that one. And then information on 513, 517, and 518.
Any more? Council? Okay, we'll move on to the first item, 5.4, Councilman Vosper.
Yeah, this item I had brought forth to look at the research on the burned properties and abatement procedures, and I appreciate all the work staff did. However, I'm unhappy with the idea that it can take up to 2 years, because I think almost all of these properties are taking up to 2 years. I don't think there's a group of properties that are going within the 3 to 6 month range. I think all of them are applying and taking advantage of the 2 years, and it makes our city look bad. And so I want to find out what can we do to speed that process up, because we have, on Main Street, we have businesses on both ends that are houses that just make it look atrocious when people come in to town. And then when we come in on the bowling alley side, we see that there's been a little bit of work done, but it's still just a mess. And so I'd like to send this item back to see if we can get any recommendations from staff on anything that we can do. The first portion was finding out what others do, and I've read that report, and so then I'd like to see if there's any recommendations that we could do to speed the process up.
Okay, next, we'll move on to item number 13, 513. Councilman Vosper?
Yeah, 5.13 is approve purchase of a new ambulance from Emergency Vehicle Group. And I pulled this item for the benefit of the public for understanding the funding for these expenses. In the staff report, it states that this is from IGT funds. I'd just like the public to be a little bit aware of what IGT funds is. I know that as a city, all of us up here are really into making sure that we keep to a good budget, and I want the public to understand, where are these funds coming to make a new ambulance.
Okay, so IGT is a separate fund from the general fund. It is made up of Medicare and Medi-Cal reimbursements from ambulance transports. And Department of Healthcare Services has a strict rule that it all has to go back into healthcare services. So for what that means for us is that fund, that money that we receive from the Medicare, Medi-Cal reimbursements has to go towards healthcare services. So for the fire department, that would be personnel, equipment, or apparatus. And over the years, we've developed a significant reserve and funding source to be able to purchase large ticket items like this. So it is not coming out of the general fund. It is not coming out of any other funds. It's a separate fund all on its own that has to be used for healthcare services.
Thank you.
Okay, next, item number 517, Councilman Vosper.
Yeah, I'd just like this to be read so that the council can hear it and it's read in open session.
Thank you. I believe Mercedes is connected via Zoom.
Yes, I am connected via Zoom, and this is a claim for damages presented by Laura Gonzalez on October 11th for property damage where she collided with the street sweeper. This claim was sent over to George Hill's company, who is our third-party administrator, and they do not see liability on behalf of the city because the street sweeper was working within the scope of his duties and performing street sweeping duties. Although he did a U-turn, it was not illegal. He did not receive a citation from the police department that day. Neither did Ms. Gonzalez. So George Hill's company has recommended that this claim be rejected at this time.
Thank
Do
you.
you have any further questions?
Nope. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now, item number 518, Councilman Vosberg.
Okay, this item is authorized police department to purchase 2 new patrol vehicles. And again, I'm pulling this on behalf of the public benefit to understand where the funding is coming from. I know a lot of people see that we're getting new officers, we're getting new vehicles, we're getting new things, and a lot of this stuff that we're using is restricted funds. And so I just wanted to give the chief an opportunity to explain to the public how the new vehicles are going to be funded.
Yeah, each year, the city receives COPS grant funding in the amount of $100,000 from the state. This funding is used just for police services, such as the purchasing or the leasing of patrol vehicles, radios. We work close with finance to make sure that we don't go over that funding that's given to us, and to make sure I use every penny of it.
Thank you. So these are, just to be sure, these funds are restricted of what they can be used on, and they're for the police department from a grant, is that correct?
Correctly, just for police services, and it could be for like vehicles and radios, overtime.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, before you vote on the consent calendar, you have 2 comments for the consent calendar, one on 511 and one on 517.
Okay. We have yes, the names.
Mary Jones, if you'd like to come up and speak on 511. No, that's already, someone's already talked about it. Okay. Rihanna Gonzalez for 517.
I'm here to speak to you about the rejection of my sister-in-law's request for property damages to her car. She was driving down Pacific Street. The street sweeper flipped a U-turn coming off of South Kalinga Street and ran into the passenger side of her car. I understand that your company or whatever it was said that there's no liability, but my sister-in-law's been without a car for 2 months, having to borrow from family members, and the car is undrivable. The door frame is damaged, so they cannot just replace the door. It is ripped off. The glass is shattered. If it had been a little bit sooner, it would have hit my stepdaughter in the front seat. So the claim that there's no liability here and the fact that we're going to reject her payment to fix her vehicle is ridiculous to me. It's also ridiculous that it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months and she's only gotten updates when she's come in here to ask. She's been called one time by your company, George Hills, whatever it is. She sent pictures. She requested more information. She's not received anything. In fact, she didn't know this was going to be on the agenda tonight until she came in to check Tuesday. So the communication is very much lacking, and the responsibility is on the city street sweeper who flipped a U-turn while she was driving down Pacific Street. She had the right of way. That's all.
Okay, not including number 11, what would council like to do? Are there any more comments? Any more comment cards? No? Okay.
I have one comment. On that specific item, that Ms. Gonzalez was referring to, can we have city staff reach out to her for alternatives on what happens? A lot of times these items come through the city, and the default message comes from the Hill and organization and telling us what we should do for this. But I believe that there's always other options that people can follow up with. And if you could get with her afterwards, that would be awesome. That way it doesn't seem like that we're just passing it by. That's why I always pull those too, because I don't want anyone to think that you bring something to council and that we aren't listening and give you the benefit of the doubt.
So we're pulling number 17 for further?
No, he was just asking us to follow up with her.
Okay. Okay, not including number 11, what would council like to do with consent calendar? Because we're going to do that one separate. We have a motion to approve?
I vote to approve the consent calendar with the exception of number 11.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Vosberg,
Aye?
Mayor Horn.
Aye. Okay, now we'll address item number 5.11. What would council like to do with this one?
I just wanted to pull it to vote separately.
Okay. We have a motion. Okay, hearing no motion, nothing, we'll go ahead and close that item. Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, ordinance presentation, discussion, and potential action items. We only have one tonight. Discussion, direction, and potential action regarding animal shelter services.
Robert, do you mind opening that agenda item so the staff report can be on the screen? Thank you. So since July 1st of 2019, the city of Coalinga has been contracting with Gimme Love, a local nonprofit organization, to provide shelter services at the city's animal shelter located at 150 West Elm Street in Coalinga. The current contract expires on January 5th, 2024. On Monday, November 20th, 2023, the city, consisting of Mayor Horn, Councilman Hedgecock, and Chief Garza, met with Gimme Love, consisting of Lori and George Anderson, to present a new contract between the city and Gimme Love for animal shelter services, which would begin on January 6th, 2024, and remain in effect for a period of 3 years or until a new animal shelter is completed, whichever comes first. The new contract consisted of the following summarized changes. The first is specifying that the shelter hours of operation would be a minimum of 20 hours per week, which would be posted and publicly available. Adding additional language as to what Gimme Love already does, which is not a change to their current operations. Adding more specific language on expectations. Adding language to help address and control the rodent problem. Adding language to help comply with health and safety requirements. Adding language to specify the number of adoption events Gimme Love would host annually. Adding language to allow Gimme Love to set, collect, and retain adoption fees. And lastly, changes in the payment structure as follows. Rather than a $10,000 payment on or around each July 1st, the city would issue an $11,000 payment, with $5,000 going toward general shelter operations and $6,000 going towards spay and neuter. Adding that the city will pay for telephone and internet services at the shelter and increasing the annual utility payment cap from $2,500 to $3,000. And rather than paying a flat monthly fee of $2,400, the city would pay a prorated amount per animal per month as reflected in the attached proposed contract. These changes were requested to attempt to address the rodent issue, building and fire code requirements, overcrowding concerns, and opportunities for Gimme Love to increase their revenue while also decreasing their expenses. During the November 20th, 23 meeting between the city and Gimme Love communicated to the city that they were not interested in the new contract and would cease shelter operations at the end of the current contract. On November 21st, 2023, Gimme Love submitted formal written notice to the city that they would be discontinuing shelter services effective January 6, 2024. Since then, I have met with Gimme Love. We've communicated via email and met in person in regards to the contract. On January 28th, 2023, I met with both Lori and George, and we reviewed the contract explaining the reasoning behind each change. Gimme Love was agreeable to some of the changes in the contract, but not the contract in its entirety. Council has been briefed on the negotiations in closed session, and council may now elect to choose one of two options. The first would allow the current contract with Gimme Love to expire on January 5th, 2024, and direct the city manager to work with the city attorney to form a nonprofit for the animal shelter and authorize a full-time animal control officer position in addition to the existing part-time animal control position, and have the city assume animal shelter services effective January 6, 2024. Or option two, which would it be to extend the current contract with Gimme Love for 30 days until February 6, 2024, and direct the city manager to continue to attempt to negotiate a new contract, understanding that if no agreement can be reached, then option one, as referenced above, would occur. And staff's recommendation today would be that council select option two. There are some items attached just for background information. There's previous contracts attached. There's the proposed contract attached. The notice to terminate the contract, some email communication, and some other documents if anybody needs to see them.
Okay, I'm going to read this real quick before we get started. It says we're going to go ahead and open up public comment on this item. Please remember, public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The city clerk will begin calling speakers up based on the order they were submitted. They submitted their public comment cards. Please ensure your comments comply with the decorum of the public section and the addressing council section of the city council rules of procedure. Consistent with the Brown Act, public comments are not intended to be question and answer periods or conversations. They are the opportunity for members of the public to address the council as a whole in order to listen to the public's opinions on a matter.
Nancy Jeffcoach.
Okay, I'm Nancy Jeffcoach. I'm going to start off by not talking about all the good things Gimme Love does, because those are reported quarterly to the board, so you know what they've been doing. I'm not going to talk about the rat issue, because that has been going on at this location since the Imaginarium was there. What I do want to talk about is the possibility of the city running a kill shelter. I know no one on this panel wants to say and believe that they believe it's going to become that, but there's no other way that it's not. The facts are the city is going to take over the current shelter and even the shelter of the future, and will be filled within days. And more dogs will just keep coming, and those kennels are going to not be able to host them. So dogs are going to have to be killed. That's just the bottom line. I want you to think about a couple of things in your options. With option one, you've allotted a lot of money for ACOs to pick up unwanted animals that roam our street daily. But this isn't helping the issue with abused, neglected, unwanted animals in Coalinga. I personally believe option one is all wrong for many reasons. One, it's been proven in the past that a kill shelter in Coalinga does not stop the dogs roaming. What this town needs is education, resources, and a cohesive partnership between the city, the PD, and the shelter to ensure this is occurring. This town has a social, economic, cultural issue that needs to be addressed, and killing dogs isn't going to solve this issue. Taking the money allotted in option 1 to fund spays and neuters, educating, and actually fining repeat offenders will help with this education, and it's going to help break the cycle that we're in. Again, killing dogs only means the owners will simply go on Facebook or across the street to Starbucks and get themselves another dog, and that cycle will repeat itself. A question I really hope you ask yourself as you're making this decision is, how financially sustainable can your city run a shelter be, and for how long? Coalinga tax revenues will be changing over the next year, and so what are you going to do then? What then happens to the shelter and the employees? Because there will be no end in sight of dogs on the street, the city-run shelter overhead will be growing each year. So how can you not afford to sit down with Gimme Love? Now is the time to decide if our city wants to keep paying for endless cycles, or if they want to work with an honest working relationship with a no-kill shelter. As a taxpayer, I want my money to make an impact, not only for myself, but for the generations to come. And the only way to do this is to work with a partner like Gimme Love. Thank you.
Robin Scott.
Long time no see. So I wanted to point out the numbers. 41,800 right now coming out of the general fund for Gimme Love. If you decide on option 2, or option 1, sorry, then that's going to double, if not triple, and we all know that. And it's no secret to Coalinga that one of the cannabis companies is closing, and it's probably not going to be long before the second one closes. Where's the money going to come from? What's going to happen to animal control? In my experience, attending these meetings when the budget starts running short, animal control and code enforcement are the 2 first cuts. So if they're not there, what's going to happen? You guys really need to think about that. And I think that we need to remove personalities and personal opinions when it comes to this, and look at the numbers and look at the facts. History is going to repeat itself. I know it, you know it. And then I want to make a complaint, but then I want to follow up with some really quick ideas. A few days ago, my husband and I were driving through the intersection by McDonald's, and up ahead, looked like a dozen puppies in the street. We pulled over. Like 10 of them ran up the driveway. One of them was scared and just sat in the street. So I picked it up and I went up to the driveway, and I was going to the door to knock on the door to get these people attention. This is the house across the street from Starbucks. To get their attention, to tell them their puppies were in the street, because it's usually their 2 big German Shepherds that are at Starbucks and Rite Aid parking lot. Nobody answered. And as I turned around, there was a car parked behind me. And then as I was talking to those 2 girls who were bringing back food to say that they'd seen the same thing I seen. They had been out prior to me pulling up. And then another car pulled up with 2 more girls saying the same thing. 6 people witnessed these little puppies in the street. I called the PD. I told them what was going on, because we've been told PD can't do anything unless they see it. We waited for 45 minutes. Nobody showed up. Nobody. That's my complaint. Okay. Now, recommendations. There's a lot of people on the Coalinga Citizens website. We're talking about social media now. There's a lot of people on the Coalinga Pets website. I think that we should try to work together. Marissa informed me that the readout is going to be moved due to construction there by Cherry Lane and Elm. I think that once that's moved, maybe we could run some kind of information on there about, lost your pet, visit this website, lost your pet, visit this Facebook group, and see what we can do to work together to get these dogs rehomed or back to their owners, rather than sitting in the shelter. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. We have more?
Yes. Vonna Darnell.
I'm going to go ahead and have the city clerk just call up each person after the last person is finished.
Good evening. I'm Vonna Darnell, and I own Zen Games Dog Training. Excuse me. My job at the prison, I've written contracts, I've written policies, procedures. I have been part of audit teams and corrective action plans. So I've read the contract, I've read all of the attachments that has been posted on the city website, and I have spoken with some council members, and I've spoken with Marissa. The contract is open for negotiations, and I hope a resolution with Give Me Love and the city can be met. It's not unusual for verbiage of financial accountability to be included in contracts between entities, especially when one entity gives money to the other. The city needs to account for how the money is spent for auditing purposes. I believe the amount of money provided should not be decreased. The cost of running a business is expensive, and not to mention every commodity is rising in our world today. Analysis of the number of dogs and cats being taken in, the reasons they are being housed in the shelter, is good record keeping. And again, it is required for auditing purposes. This is just a tool to track data. Set and posted hours is a positive for the community and for Give Me Love. I do not believe Give Me Love should be doing the work of the animal control officer. The animal control officer goes through proper training to address vicious, more than likely fearful dogs. And why can't the animal control officer or officers on the police force working be responsible for injured, dead animals, especially after hours? Many of the items in the contract are things already performed by Give Me Love: reaching out to rescues, feeding, cleaning, vaccinating, microchipping, veterinary runs, webpage, Facebook, TikTok. So that verbiage is new. However, the services are already being performed. I've written, reviewed, and updated many policies and procedures, and it's not uncommon to add and delete verbiage. Animal welfare is and always has been a hot topic in this town of Coalinga. It's such an emotionally charged one as well. There are people who can't do what Give Me Love does, and for various reasons, I wouldn't be able to do it. Give Me Love services are and have been much appreciated. Look at the amazing volunteers and the number of animals saved. I'm hopeful a resolution and a modified contract can be agreed upon. With that said, as a business owner, I vow to help Give Me Love if the contract is reached, and we are also starting a dog program out at the prison where we are planning on pulling dogs from Give Me Love. So I hope everything works out for you guys.
Federico.
I'm gonna be here a while. Just kidding. First of all, nice sweaters. Those are real nice.
Thank you.
That's it. When does my time start?
Right now.
Okay. I'm not here to assume any of you were here in the early 90s when State Farm would put on events for the kids in town. And I could go on and on about all the different things that happened in the early 90s, but if you were here, you'd see a lot of things that still remain from the younger Coalinga. A few things that still remain, like what Scott, back behind me, I don't know, carrying some kind of virus, does by accommodating his movie prices and schedule for our special education students for Chusta. A few things still remain, like our thrift store that puts up the flag and brings it back down at closing. That's how I was able to see all the help that Lori gives animals before the funding. I was asked to run the thrift store online page early 2017, and that was one of the things I noticed about Carol and Lori and everyone else putting up the flag, bringing it down. I'm gonna move a little forward past that. It was just one of the things I did for them, and I'm gonna say that during my help with the online page, I was able again to see the day in, day out, what Lori would do before the funding. That was back in 2017 when I started the online page for them. Lori was already doing that stuff before your guys' help. She, like, feeding like little animals. Sometimes I'd take some, they'd ask me to come bring one over here, over there. You know, they just give people help that were in need, and the animals, she would take care of them. And a few things still remain. The young lady that spoke before me, Vaughn, I don't know where she went, but she said that she wouldn't be able to do it. Anybody doing the work that Lori has been doing would be in over their heads. If it were anybody else, you'd hear complaining throughout the community about all the reasons the employee no longer wants to work there, and I don't blame them. I would agree right there with them. No person in the right mind would want to do that job. But she does it with a smile on her face. That's what she does. I'm kind. I'm genuine, and I kindly offered her my chair, but I knew it was for her. And you know what she did? She offered it to the elder lady right in front of her husband. Tonight, that's what she's genuinely kind, and I don't say that. That title isn't just for anybody. She's genuinely kind. A few things still remain from Coalinga, and all they're asking is that the contract remains the same at $2,400. Again, thank you for your time, and if I had to choose out of one of your sweaters, I'd still pick Gimme Love and Lori.
Sherry?
My name is Sherry Gregoire. I've been a shelter volunteer for 1.5 years. I'm here tonight to share some of my experiences and kind of talk about my journey being over there. I started walking dogs. I just went over there and started walking dogs, and then I graduated to a kennel cleaner. And I'm very proud. I'm a really good kennel cleaner, by the way. I started doing general maintenance, painting the bathroom, installing fences, gates, shades, covers, kennel repairs. Thank you, Roger. He's helped me with the kennel repairs. Good man, thank you. The hardest part of volunteering has been picking up dead animals off the roads, taking injured animals to Fresno to be euthanized when injured beyond repair. That was heartbreaking. The rescues have been too hard. We've picked up animals who are starving, matted, unrecognizable, full of fleas and ticks, limping with old injuries. I've been with Lori and George to homes with multiple animals whose owners were taken to jail, or worse yet, who the owners have died, and they had no one left to take care for them. So many abandonment cases, there's so many of them where people have moved and just left them. They just move and go. They'll get new dogs, they don't care. Boxes of puppies and kittens are left at Gimme's doorway all too often. Happened just yesterday. Box of kittens, 4. It's a very hard job, but it needs to be done. It's not all gloom and doom, though. That's why I volunteer. It's about the lives saved. This year, Gimme rescued and adopted over 1,000 animals. So if you think that Gimme is not doing the best they can to move those animals out of there, you're nuts, because they are moving them. Lori's moving them. She's so amazing that she's moved animals to multiple rescues where animals went as far away as Canada, Oregon, and Southern California. Even though we love and take good care of them, it's hard to see them go, but it's our goal to give them their forever homes as soon as possible. We want to move them. So we're on your side with that. We're not trying to hoard them. We want to move them. Another outstanding accomplishment for Gimme this year was spaying and neutering over 600 cats and dogs, and it was all free to the community through a grant that Lori got. And this was not an easy task because there's not, as you know, there's not a vet in Coalinga. So dedicated volunteers like Diane in particular drove them each week. Oh no, come on. Really? Oh man, I got so many good things to say. I'm gonna wrap it up then. I'll skip all those things. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank Lori Anderson for her dedication, long grueling hours cleaning and running that shelter. Her love for animals is inspirational. Really. Without her, none of this would be possible. Thank you, Lori.
Mary Jones.
I forgot my glasses, so I can't see any of you, but I know you're there. I don't think anyone here has anything negative to say about the services that have been provided by Gimme Love. And I've never had any negative experiences, but I feel sort of like I've turned on a football game and I don't know who to root for. They're both good teams, their uniforms look great, they know the rules, and I'm confused. I printed out all the stuff that was attached to the agenda item. I printed out all the old contracts. I printed out everything. And I read it. I spent a great deal of time reading it. And I'm baffled because I think, maybe because I've dealt with the city myself and it wasn't a happy story. But if someone had told me, let's talk about this, let's see what we can change, I like to think that we could have come to an understanding. And what I see right now is this team over here understands the picture from where they are, and this team over here sees the other side, the passion, the compassion, the empathy side of it, and they don't worry about some of the details. I'm sure that you keep track of the things that they're asking you to keep track of. I'm convinced. I know you know where the animals, where you get them, and when you get them, who dropped them off. So I don't think it's anything new. The thing that I was alarmed about, I think, in the new contract, there were a couple of major things that stood out to me. One of those was it said only 6 cats could be in the shelter. And of those 6 cats, they all had to be injured or sick. Now, unless you want people to start drowning their cats or shooting them or throwing them out of their cars or something, as a community, there has to be a resource for someone whose cat gets knocked up because they didn't know they could, have kittens that early or something. There has to be some solution for those people. And there are none. And we're in an area where we're isolated. So I remember when my cat was shot by a police animal control officer. Now that was 35 years ago, so none of you were here. But I remember that climate. I don't think we'll ever go back to that. But right now, we've got a good game going on, and it doesn't need to be teams against each other. I would really like to see, because I've read this, I've read the dialogue. I've read one side saying to the other side, please let's talk. I encourage you, please talk.
Diane Rocha.
Good evening. My name is Diane Roach, and I have 2 roles at Gimme Love. I'm one of the fosters for abandoned kittens or bottle babies, and I drove the spay-neuter bus every Wednesday to Paso Robles. As you consider the shelter contract, I'd like you to be aware of the many facets that are integral to the incredible success of Gimme Love, particularly the focus on animal health. This past year, Gimme Love received a grant that provided funding for spay-neuter for Coalinga pets and feral cats. While being fixed, pets also received rabies vaccinations, nail trims, and individual treatment, antibiotics, fleas, ear mite treatment, dental work, for only the cost of extra medication to the owner. Volunteers have been working in different parts of Coalinga to trap feral cats for the TNR, the Trap Neuter Release Program. TNR is the most effective way to reduce feral cat populations, and that's an issue in Coalinga. Cats are trapped, fixed, given a rabies shot, and their ears are tipped to indicate that they have been fixed. The feral cats are then returned to their neighborhood healthier. Recently, someone poisoned at least 6 cats in my neighborhood, and Gimme Love helped to arrange a necropsy of one beloved pet that confirmed antifreeze poisoning. Although I filed a police report, law enforcement has never responded, but Lori and her team of volunteers went door to door, garage to garage, looking for poison. Deliberate poisoning is not the only health issue that the shelter is addressing. An unexplained illness is affecting not just Coalinga cats, but cats in neighboring counties as well. But it's puzzling veterinarians and even UC Davis. 3 litters of healthy vaccinated kittens at my home were infected and died within 4 days of exposure without symptoms. One of them died at the vet under care, and we're working with UC Davis to find the cause of this deadly virus and hopefully an effective treatment protocol. In isolating cats and not making any cats exposed available to spread this disease to another facility or adoptive home, Lori is following the Association of Shelter Veterinarians guidelines for standards of care in animal shelters. I bring this document to your attention particularly because it is the gold standard of shelter guidelines, and Gimme Love is compliant in all. Many of the items in your contract are not acceptable modern practices and harken back to the era of gas chambers. I do not believe the community supports a return to inhumane practices, yet you're trying to restrict Gimme Love, and particularly Lori, from using the expertise and understanding of animals and their needs that comes from years of experience. Her ability to make decisions about individual animals with regard to their nutrition, housing, and emotional health is incomparable. And for a new contract to restrict her discernment flies in the face of the modern shelter expectations. Every day, the hard work of Lori and the team of Gimme Love volunteers make Coalinga a better place for pets and their owners. I urge you to reconsider the contract.
Lorraine Wells. Lorraine Wells. Yes.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Holonsky Wells. I appreciate you all being here and hearing us out, and I appreciate all the work that the volunteers of Gimme Love Shelter have put in to make it possible for the community to have a place to go to get advice and help with any stray animals. I have had situations where I've had 2 cats give birth in my yard, or I've taken them in and had them give birth in my closet so that I could get all the kittens and the adult cats spayed and neutered. And I went to Gimme Love to get help. I was overwhelmed so much. I was in tears, waking up with anxiety because I couldn't figure out what to do with all these animals. I had only intended to get them spayed and neutered somewhere, which was, I had to take days off work to get that to happen, until I found out that Gimme Love offers this spay and neuter service by taking the animals on the spay and neuter bus. And so that allowed me to get one stray cat that lived between me and my neighbor's house to get neutered and get shots. And out of the kittens that were born in his generation, he's the only one that survived, and he helps keep mice away from my house, and I did have mice for a while. So it was worth it to be able to have this animal help me out at my house, and I help him a little. The other thing I wanted to say about Gimme Love Animal Shelter, just as a citizen who's experienced it as part of my community, they've made me feel like a welcome participant in the shelter operation because of the help I got with them and guidance I got from their staff to manage getting the animals spayed and neutered that I did. I began to interact with Gimme Love a little bit more, not as much as I would like to, but I've seen all the contributions of all the people that help there. Like, it makes me feel good to know I'm connected with a group that, you know, other people are out walking the dogs and helping inside with the cats. And I like to stop and say hi to them. And I actually wound up adopting a pit bull they called Hulk. And as Harold Wiest would have said, he was the ugliest dog. He was so ugly, he was cute. And he and his wife, Barbara, used to walk my dog. And he's been a great contribution and benefited my life. So I hope that there's a way that the city can, and Gimme Love can work something out that continues to benefit the citizens, as well as the health and wellness of our community. It's really important work, so thank you all.
Leanna? Am I saying that right? Leanna?
Real quick, those of you that are sitting down, I don't know if you can see the timer up there. We do have a 3-minute timer up there. If we can kind of keep it as close to that as possible.
Hi, everyone. Liana. I have lived here for a couple years now. I'm now a property owner in this town. I'm not originally from here. I'm from New York City. And so I know that this town is really special because I see a lot of people always coming together to help. And this topic specifically is the thing that everyone cares about. Gimme Love helped me out because I got a dog that was a product of a stray getting out and impregnating another dog. They gave my dog his shots. And you know, I didn't know where to go except the local shelter, and so they helped me out with that. I was able to find out that we have a dog trainer in town because of them. And the thing that I've noticed about Coalinga is that you guys want to grow. And with growth, it comes with a lot of costs. And so it blows my mind that we're trying to have the city shelter run with less money. Like, and they're not even asking for more. They're just asking to be able to have the same amount. At first, when I heard about it, I thought to myself, what can we do, like, to raise money for them? But it's like, I shouldn't have to raise money for them to be able to function. That's the city's job. That's why I pay my property taxes. I want to be able to say that my town is supporting the shelter because it's a need and not an option. And then from there, the rest of the town can support the shelter for extra needs that they can do. I feel like we just need them. Like, everything that everyone has said 100% is true. That house across from Starbucks is notorious. Everybody knows. That's where those puppies are coming from. That's where those German Shepherds are at. And nothing gets done about it. So we're going to continue to let it happen instead of addressing the problem. We do need the education for this town. People don't know that, not everybody has a computer, not everybody has internet access. People don't know that there's resources out there for them. So education is one of the key things that we need. If this town's gonna keep growing, we're trying to get this Tractor Supply coming into town. We've got housing developments coming in, we're gonna have more pets and animals getting out. And what are we gonna do without a shelter? It's not broken. Can we keep them? Like, I don't think anybody's asking for anything crazy. We just want our shelter. They've been working great. She's a wonderful person, everybody who works with them. And that's all I've got to say.
Rebecca?
Good evening. I'm Rebecca Reese. I just have a couple of logistic thoughts about this. So, from my understanding, if the contract is terminated, then they end their time here in January. That would give the city less than a month to create a new shelter. Is that feasible? Like, how long does it really take to successfully set up a place for these dogs? And even with our shelter in place, there are still so many strays or dogs that get out or cats that get out. I see one at least once a month. So that would still be going on while we're also not having a shelter. It's like, how successful would that plan actually be logistically? I was fouled home once by a stray dog. I followed the process after I gave the dog to Give Me Love of the dog being sent out and being adopted. I grew a little attached. So it wasn't like the most rapid process, but that kind of stuff takes time. But it was quick. It was within a couple months that I found this dog, gave this dog to them, and they got this dog sent to a shelter. I believe it was out of state, in Oregon, I think maybe. And they were able to successfully rehome the dog. They're good at their jobs. And would we be good at it as a city? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're done with the comment cards. Council, you guys like to comment?
Yeah. So, first, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Every person here, we're listening. We've been listening. Your Facebook comments, your emails, none of that stuff goes unnoticed. We're all aware that, we have a large population of animal lovers, and I think a lot of us up here included. And I think that's where the problem lies, is that there's a false narrative being run that we're on the opposite team, because we're not. Nobody wants to get rid of the shelter. No one wants to defund the shelter. That's never been talked about. That's not in the options. Hold on, let me finish. The contract that is being put forward is being negotiated with the city and Give Me Love. It's not with the council and Give Me Love, okay? That's not, I want to make sure everybody realizes that. That's not how this goes. City council members are not in the negotiation process. When Give Me Love and the city come to each other, they go back and forth with a contract. That's how it should work. And it should be kind of like a labor contract where you find out what every person is interested to agree on, and then you work from there. Now, I'm not saying you were, but what I want to point out, is that all of us up here have the same goal. We want to provide great care for the animals. We're not on opposite teams here. We're on the same team. I'm an animal lover. I have the last two cats I've had have been strays, and I took the last one to Give Me Love to get the shots and whatnot. I took my dog to Give Me Love to get the shots. We all want the same things. The only difference is how do we get there? The city has to take certain things into consideration. And unfortunately, I don't know if you guys know how closed session works, but as long as someone's negotiating in a contract, The council cannot break the closed session rules and go at it with the public back and forth about this. So I apologize, but I've heard everything everyone said, but the amount of stuff that I can comment on and say, because you know I like to talk, and you know we could go back and forth on this, but unfortunately, because this is a closed session item, we can't do that. And so I apologize to you, and I know that that's going to make some people very unhappy. I've done a lot to increase transparency since I've been on council last time and this time. Certain things are rules and laws that can't be broken, and that's one of them. And I very much apologize for that, but I want you guys to know that from the bottom of my heart, that I really want this to work with the city and Give Me Love, and I don't think there's a reason that it shouldn't work. I think it should. I think if we can get more time and we can talk back and forth, and when I say we, I mean the city, I think that we can find a good compromise in between the stuff that's in the contract that, that some people are saying is unreasonable from what the city is saying, hey, that they need. I think that can happen. So I just want to tell everybody that I very much appreciate everyone coming here. I apologize that this isn't something that I can get all into, because I would really like to, because there's a lot of stuff out there. And let's just pray for the city and Give Me Love to come together and to get a good contract going, because the goal is for the animals, for all the animals. I listen when people say, hey, the animals didn't ask to be brought here. They didn't ask for people to neglect them. They didn't ask for all these things. We're aware of this. I'm aware of this for sure. And I think the rest of the council is as well. Councilman Schindler is giving his entire stipend, I believe, to Give Me Love. What I really want to do is have the narrative set that we're on the same team. Okay? Moving forward, we're on the same team. We're not against each other. You haven't seen me comment on this on Facebook. You haven't seen me say anything because I can't. I can't. But I think we are going to move forward in a great direction, and I think we are going to solve this issue. So I appreciate everyone for coming, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Any other comments?
We need support from the city council to do something about it. You are representatives.
All right, we've given everybody time to speak already, and right now it's time for the council to speak. Please be patient.
Just on the same boat as Mr. Bosworth, it's not that we don't want, we want to, Give Me Love is a great organization. All they've done is great things. There's not.
Did you offer somebody a part-time job in the new shelter? Did you do that, yes or no?
I'm sorry?
That's a yes or no question. Did you offer somebody a part-time job in the new shelter that's going to be ran by PD and the city, yes or no? Yes or no?
No, how could?
We don't need to, don't respond to.
I see yeah, these are things that are going around. I was at the office. I was at the doctor's office, and I'm being called an animal killer. But we all got to come to join. I didn't join council to be, against everybody. No, you guys are great.
Do your job and fund the shelter. Okay, that's all. Do your job and fund the shelter.
Hey, please, citizens, let the council finish.
Yes,
Thank you.
You guys are right. This is for the animals. These are for the animals. I'm an animal lover. I got three dogs and a cat myself. I rescued a dog that was ran over, and I took care of it. I have two more. My cat was killed by a vicious dog in my front chair. I want this to succeed. Ms. Lori, George, they're great people, and they've done great, amazing things. So
We can't answer any questions at this time.
Exactly.
Well, we'll have the staff get back to you on those.
like I said, I'm an animal lover. I got my little cat that I had for 11 years.
That's all well and fine. Fund the shelter.
Yeah, and
Hey, what's that?
yeah, we'll, and
Okay. we're done with this for now. We have a motion, and which item what would you prefer to do, council? All right, I'll make the motion. We have two different ones. Number one was to allow the current contract to Gimme Love to expire on January 5th, 2024. The second one is, with the three changes, the second one is extend the current contract with Gimme Love for 30 days until February 6th, 2024, and direct the city manager to continue to attempt to negotiate a new contract, understanding that if no agreement can be reached, option one, as referenced above, would occur. I make a motion for item 2, to extend it out for an extra 30 days.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Vosberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez.
Aye.
Okay, next, we're going to move on to announcements, city manager's announcements.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that we are taking donations right now for the city's Christmas gift program. So we are good with jackets, shoes, and socks for kids in need in the community, but we are still in need of toys valued at about $25. We have 293 children registered this year. So if anybody's interested in donating Christmas gifts or Christmas wrapping paper, they can be dropped off at City Hall. Christmas wrapping paper.
Council announcements or reports? None? Okay. I have no announcements. Future agenda items?
Yeah, I have some future agenda items.
Let's hold on a second. Let them get out of here. Or if you're, I'm just having us hold so that the noise can calm down. We're almost done. Okay, next item we have is future agenda items.
All right, I have a couple. I'd like a future agenda item for city staff to reach out to those in charge of Fresno County and to Supervisor Buddy Mendez pertaining to the repair of Los Gatos Park. The park is in shambles. We pay county taxes. This is a county park. We are being way underserved, and it's been way too long. And I don't think that it's unreasonable for them to fix that park. It's been a long time coming. Since the last time I was on council, the park was in shambles, even before the storm, kind of wrecked it. So if you guys could do that, that'd be good. I'd like a future agenda item for city staff to reach out to those in charge at CRMC, Fresno County, and to Supervisor Mendez pertaining to mental health and homeless services in Coalinga. From what I understand and I'm hearing, we are also underserved in the responsibilities of mental health and our homeless population. All the monies for those services trickle down from the state and federal agencies to the county, and I've also been asking for this for quite some time, and every time we go to the county, they tell us no, and that they're not going to, and it's not fair because we all pay taxes. We all pay those county taxes, so we need to step up our game on that. I would like a future agenda item to negotiate with PSVP, the new animal thing that was brought up tonight, that may be something working with Gimme Love, but I would like to include some kind of stipend on that from the city to encourage that to work, because we'd like to be involved with them. And then I'd like a future agenda item to look into changing the ordinance on the setback requirements for non-permitted accessory structures. I would like a future agenda item to look into changing the ordinance on the setback requirements for non-permitted accessory structures. And that's it.
Any more items, council? Okay, I have one quick one. I just want to see about getting an update about all the repairs that have been done the last, I'd say, year, 2 years out at the airport. And if the fuel pumps have been repaired or not. And that's all I have for now. We're going to move on to closed session items. We have 3 items tonight. We have no closed session report. With that being said, we will adjourn this meeting until January 4th, 2024.